Hey, we're pouring concrete today, so I'm on site to inspect it and make sure it's ready to go. The first thing I looked at is whether or not these monolithic footers have been cleaned out and are at the proper size. However, when we got on site this morning, we found that the beach had blown about 3 inches of sand in here. So we've been digging this out and we'll compact this back down so it's ready for the concrete pour. The second thing I'm going to look for is these chairs. This holds the rebar up so that when the heavy concrete gets poured on it, it doesn't push the rebar down. The reason this is important is because we want to make sure that there's plenty of concrete under the rebar and on top of the rebar so the rebar can do its job. The third thing I'm going to look for is the spacing between the rebar. This rebar has been set up specifically to go through the holes of cinder block, and I want to make sure these things didn't get moved by any animals or cars bumping into it, so that when we put the concrete in, these are in the right spot for the blocks to slide right down on top of them. The last thing I'm going to check before the concrete truck comes is to make sure that this rebar has been installed with epoxy. This epoxy is kind of like a cement glue that holds the rebar and ties it in to the pre-existing slab about 6 inches deep to make sure that this slab doesn't slide next to the old slab. Everything on this job site checks out, so we're ready for the concrete truck, and they'll be here in a couple hours to get this thing poured in.